statement. The member from Etobicoke Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning, this House gave unanimous consent to hold a moment of silence to commemorate the loss of 298 passengers on Malaysia Airlines flight MH17. This is a tragedy of unspeakable proportions, Mr. Speaker. The families of those lost remain in all our thoughts during this devastating time. The unfortunate reality, Mr. Speaker, is that this is one more act of unspeakable violence in a string of civilian casualties since the crisis in Ukraine began. The dead include brave Ukrainians who stood in Independence Square to demand a better life and died for that cause at the hands of the Yanukovych regime. It includes those whose blood has been spilled by rebels that have, according to U.S. government officials, likely been funded, supplied, and trained by the Putin regime. And now the violence in Ukraine has made casualties of 298 citizens from countries around the world that were needlessly shot down on that flight. The killing of civilians during a conflict, whether deliberate or not, is inexcusable. As leaders and as MPPs, I believe we have a responsibility to speak up in the face of injustice and when human rights are violated, and now is one of those times. The violation of Ukraine's territorial integrity is an affront to all those who value democracy, freedom, and human rights. So I would urge our federal government and the international community to implement stringent sanctions against the Putin regime and provide support to the Ukrainian government as it seeks to preserve Ukraine's independence, democracy, and freedom from violence. I believe, Mr. Speaker, that these are principles that we all in this House share. And that is why I stand today in solidarity with all those who seek a peaceful and democratic plan for Ukrainians and all people seeking to protect their freedom. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.